Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Vantage Point YouTube live session today. We've got some incredibly exciting stuff to dive into today, so I'm incredibly glad that everybody had a chance to join us. Today, we're actually going to be diving not only into the charts and your picks and ticker symbols, but we're also going to take a deeper look at the accuracy of Vantage Point. And in fact, I've brought in some big guns to help us go over that accuracy right here within the software. So Daniel, our vice president, is joining us today. So, hey, Daniel, how are you? I hard to have a bad day when you're looking at Vantage Point. So I'm doing great. You know it. Absolutely. That's one of the greatest things about these live sessions is we can really go live into the software, taking your requests and doing that analysis almost one-on-one with you guys right here in the software. In fact, we did some analysis yesterday that I think we'll kind of work through again today and just showcase the accuracy of Vantage Point.
Yeah, that's great. Let me just do a quick sound check and make sure everybody can hear okay, because I can hear you, Nikki. I think you can hear me. Let's
I
do a
can.
quick sound check for everybody in the room and make sure that YouTube is playing our sound. You can see our screen okay. As you know, this is a live session. So if you can hear me, do me a favor. Hop into the chat. I've got the chat pulled up over here on my other screen. And you should be able to hear me. If you can't, let me know that that's the case. We are going to do right now. I've got messages saying no sound. Oh, now they can hear me. Okay, good. Look at that.
Good.
That's all you got to do is a sound check. You do a sound check, it works itself out, and everybody is good to go. Well, for those of you that didn't hear me last time, I just wanted to say that I'm very excited for this session. Nikki told me we're going to look at some charts. We're going to dig into some tickers. If you watched yesterday's, we're going to bring the artificial intelligence third-party accuracy studies. We're going to do some chart analysis. I guess we had a full live session packed here. What I said earlier, let me just say it again for those of you that couldn't hear me. I said that this is an interactive session, which means in order for us, for Nikki and I and us here at Vantage Point University to deliver what you're looking for, we need you active in the chat. I've got it pulled up on my screen here. Thank you, Abu Maggie. Now you can hear me. Juan, it's okay now. So you couldn't hear me before. Says I'm at a low level. I'm going to turn up my gain a little bit. I don't want to turn it up too loud because what'll happen is I get animated and then it gets really loud. So I turned up my
Hard not
gain
to
a
get
little
excited
bit.
about some of the data that's coming from the
Yeah,
software, but I get it. I get it.
yeah, you know what I mean from that standpoint because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that everybody can hear okay, and my excitement doesn't burn out the speakers on your computer. Let's see. Let me just double check,
So
make
while
sure
you're
everything is working
checking,
okay.
yeah, while you're checking that, Daniel, let me just ask kind of our viewers out here as well. I'm interested to kind of get your perspective, all of our viewers out there. Are you interested in the accuracy of Vantage Point? That's a question I get a lot on my training sessions, those one-on-ones that we do here within Vantage Point University. And of course, as the head trainer, I work with many traders throughout the course of the day, just kind of on the front lines. But I want to just kind of hear your perspective as well. Again, as the viewers, are you interested in hearing some of this detailed studies that have been done in the software as well to kind of give you the confidence, even more confidence in the predictive data itself? So go ahead and maybe just type in accuracy if you guys are ready to roll and dive on into this amazing data that's coming out of the software. And not just that, but just the power in helping you trade better and have an advantage in the markets.
Yeah, Nikki, thank you for saying that because it's one thing to be able to forecast the markets or say you can, right? It's another thing to have indicators and tools, but where we've taken it to another level here now is not only do we forecast, we have the indicators and tools that do it. They're patented, they're dual patented, but We are, I don't know, is it bold enough, brave enough? No, we are confident enough in our
There you go.
analysis that we could say, hey, PhD, third party scientist, trader, financial data analysis, do whatever you can do to our software, do some analysis on it, and tell us what you see, what kind of accuracy you get from that. And I don't, I see a couple people. Rooftop Gardener says accuracy in the chat, like they asked. So we got a couple people writing in, and as Nikki said, just write the word accuracy in to let us know you're here, you're listening, and you're interested in what these reports say. And I've moved my mic around a little bit. I've done some updates and adjustments, so hopefully everybody can hear me a little bit better now. If not, just turn up your speakers and I'm sure I'll come through just fine. But I got Nikki, I got
Thanks,
Michael
Michael.
saying, let's go towards accuracy. I love it. I love it. Let's go
Yes,
towards
they're very
accuracy.
excited, very excited. Want to. So thanks guys for typing that in. Again, keep engaged throughout the session. We want to answer as many questions as possible. You kind of get a 2-for-1 today. So excited to be here with Daniel and dive into some of the accuracy studies and of course the charts as well. So Daniel, I'll let you kind of take it away on the accuracy. I sounds like most of our listeners are ready to get to that.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so in case anybody is wondering, these accuracy studies are available to you as well. I'm not keeping them close to the vest. As a matter of fact, I'd love for you to send them to your friends and your family, anybody that's trading that you think would benefit from seeing what third parties say about the software. As a matter of fact, if you go to VantagePointSoftware.com, don't do it right now. Stay on this live. But if you go to VantagePointSoftware.com and your downtime after this live is over, you can go right here to our technology drop down. You should, in just a second, see it on your screen. When you see it on your screen, you can see I'm on VantagePointSoftware.com, our technology, and then I can go to proven accuracy. Now, we hosted these on our site so you can get easy access to them. Here's one. It says Predictive Neural Index Accuracy Evaluation. You can see who this was prepared by right here. Computer engineering expert, PhD analysis. And then we can go down to the next one here, validation study, also prepared by Dr. Huddleston, a PhD. And these are all independent studies where they walk through the software. And what we did is we just gave them, unfettered access to the software and said, here's VantagePoint, right? And do
You
what
gave
you're
them
going
the
to do.
4-digit PIN code to the iPhone, right?
Yeah, iPhone, ATM, whatever you want to call it, absolutely. And we said, just do what you're going to do. See what it says, see what the accuracy comes back for. And they had some questions. As a matter of fact, let me pull up the first one here, and you can see here's the one from Dr. Huddleston, and here is the other analysis done here by Dr. Beg Dagamas. When you look at this, let me just make sure we're on the same page. When you look at this analysis, I'm just going to scroll to the first page, Nikki, and as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to zoom out just a little bit because I think our video is probably covering up a piece of it. There we go. Now everybody should be able to see these accuracy studies. And what they found was that this one, in this specific study, a mean accuracy of 76.4%. Now remember, what I'm saying is that Nikki and I didn't say, here's the software, but only look at these symbols. We didn't say, here's the best of the best, right? Look at the best of the best, because we know our accuracy is up to 87.4%, Nikki. And you hear people question that all the time. And the questions we get are, is it really that accurate? Well, yeah, our best accuracy is 87.4%. Our lowest accuracy, we don't allow anything in our software if we can keep it out at 70%. And we do constant testing. We don't catch them as soon as they hit below 70%, but I can tell you our R&D team is on top of it. So we just said,
say it's pretty quickly.
yeah, absolutely. And we just said, take the software, right? We just take the software and see what you come up with. 76.4%. Think about that.
Wow.
Pretty powerful. What that means is if the software downloads once a day, every day at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, 76 out of 100 days, it's going to be right around the direction that the market and the stocks are going to go. I mean, think about that. If you could be right 76 out of 100 days, what do you think that could do for your results? Go do me a favor. Go to the chat. Nikki and I both are watching the chat, but go to the chat and tell me if you think that would help your results or hurt your results to be right 76 out of 100 days. I know the answer. It's kind of a rhetorical question, right, Nikki?
It is. I was hoping that everybody would say, improve, increase, but type those in because maybe you are struggling as a trader to become accurate in your trading, whether you're using Vantage Point, or maybe you're new to Vantage Point and just seeing this for the first time. I know we have some viewers out there who might not know what Vantage Point is yet. So we're going to get to that here in just a little bit in our session. But I think it's important for everybody to understand when we're looking at these charts, we're not just talking about any indicators or any charts. We're talking about incredibly powerful, accurate, predictive indicators that are going to forecast these trends ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
So we'll get back to the accuracy, but I want everybody watching to know that when we dive into the charts, remember that this is proven accuracy and it's incredibly powerful for every trader out there.
Incredibly. And it doesn't matter what asset class you're trading. Look, there's 60 symbols. They pick the symbols over a 3-year period, right? A 3-year period. Think about that. We didn't say go pick the best 6 months. We just said do what you're going to do. 3-year period, 60 symbols. And what she found was that across Forex, 77%, stocks, 76%, crypto, 76%, and ETFs, an average of 75%. So no matter how you slice it, we're talking about 75% or better, regardless of the asset class, in a third-party study. And the reason this is so important is because if you think about trading, you could say, you know what, I'm going to go pick a stock, any stock, and I'm going to take a 50% chance, 50-50, that it's going to go up. I think about that. 50-50 is a real, just random sample. So what this is saying, this accuracy is saying, is that not only is 50-50 a real random sample, but with Vantage Point, you can get up to a 75% accuracy. What is that, a 50% improvement in random sample? I'm not the mathematician, from a trading standpoint, but I can tell you that
their
that is
math
way
is
better.
mathing, right? So,
yeah.
So I want to jump back here to that 3-year time period for just a second, because I'd actually love to hear from some of our viewers out there. Think about a time over the last 3 years where the market has done something wild and crazy, or at least you thought it was wild and crazy if you weren't looking at Vantage Point. But we've had major swings, ups and downs over the last 3 years. So you talk about elections, we talk about tariffs and different things of that nature. And Vantage Point has been able to clearly forecast with incredible accuracy, even through those different variations in market conditions. And helping traders to navigate through those conditions is really why Vantage Point is so powerful.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Totally. I mean, just think about the geopolitical environment that you've had to trade in the last few years. Like Nikki said, to have that kind of accuracy is just absolutely incredible in my book. And to see that, a Ph.D., and we'll look at her bio in a second, so you can make the decision for yourself whether this study, means something to you. We know how powerful it is, but we're doing this today so that everybody has a chance to really just dig in and understand. She walked through the data collection process, right? Walk through the accuracy calculation. You've got the math here. I'm not going to go through the math. Like I said, I'm not the mathematician, but the full study was done. You can see it's 12 pages long, and every market that they studied is listed out in the study. I'm going to show you. Look, here's some Forex pairs.
Wow.
Here's some US stocks, just a random sampling of US stocks, right? Here's ETF markets. Just incredible that that she was able to do this analysis just based on 60 random tickers. Look at
And
this
it
one,
runs
Cardano,
the gamut
Ethereum.
of all of the different asset classes as well. I mean, like you said, we've got stocks, we've got ETFs, we've got Forex pairs, we've got cryptocurrencies I'm seeing now as you scroll down. So
Yep.
Wow. So what I think we'll do too, just for everybody, is we'll drop this in the chat. We'll drop the link to the accuracy studies in the chat as well. So be sure to click on those accuracy studies after this session, and we'll make sure that that's in the description for you as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that. If you guys want the accuracy study dropped into the chat, just put me in there. I want to make sure that we've got, a room full of people that want to dig into the details, or at least want to read it for themselves. I'm scrolling through this page. I've read the study. I didn't have any stake in the study, so I had to read it and understand it just like everybody else. But if you want it, just put a little me into the chat. We'll make sure that you get access to the study, both of the studies. So we've got the link for it. So As I go through this, there's something else that's important is that some of the studies that they did, I hadn't even heard of before. An F1 score to gain a deeper understanding of the model's prediction, reliability, and balance. I don't know what an F1 score is, but I can tell you one thing that it certainly adds another element to whether or not this is a legitimate third party study that has accuracy and the results mean something. So I'm scrolling down to the conclusion just so that everybody that's in this session today can see that overall this study proves and shows that the 76.4% average accuracy they found outperforms traditional trading methodologies. Now, just read from a profile standpoint, a distinguished researcher with over 10 years of experience in academic research, consulting, teaching, specializing in cybersecurity, computer security, artificial intelligence, as a PhD in computer engineering. I could go on and on, but it's safe to say that this is the kind of person that you want digging into the weeds to see if it's legitimate. And you can see when it look notarized, all this information is available right here in the study to say, you know what, the software was tested, it came back accurate. Here's the results, and here's my credentials, not mine, hers, her credentials in having the abilities to do this. And that's what I love about this. I can do a third party study if you want me to, Nikki. It may not mean anything because my credentials aren't, credentials that show the ability to even test this stuff. Now, real world trading, that's different.
Absolutely.
But from an accuracy standpoint, scientifically, I think we got a good one here.
Absolutely. Well, and also credentials incredibly important, but also transparency as well. I mean, when it comes to the accuracy, transparency is also incredibly important.
It is.
And
It
I
is.
think that's what we're clearly seeing here is that it's laid out for everyone to see just literally in black and white so that you guys can take a look at that accuracy and be able to trust the forecast that Vantage Point is providing and has been providing for decades now.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now let's go to the other one really quickly because this was a completely different study, right? Different time period, different number of markets being studied, different accuracy. Why? Because Dr. Huddleston picked his own markets. We didn't tell him what to pick. And I know I'm scrolling a little bit, but you can see 81% accurate in his standard deviation of 2.1, indicating a high consistency. Stop and think about that for a second. Forget the accuracy for a moment. The standard deviation of 2.1% says that the output is consistent. Anybody here in this session struggling with consistency in the market, struggling with the ability to take small gains, even, singles and doubles, base hits on a consistent basis? Because if you are, and you're not part of the Vantage Point family yet, you can see where this study gives you the confidence to say not only is it accurate, but it's consistent. And that's pretty powerful. I mean, Nikki, how many people do you talk to that if they could just be more consistent, because they win some, they lose some, but if they could be more consistent, they'd be more successful?
Absolutely. I mean, consistency is one of the biggest struggles with most traders. And it's interesting that the standard deviation on this was very similar, very close to that standard deviation on the first study that you went over as well. If we went back and looked at that standard deviation, you'd see that they were very close. And so consistency is something that was found not only in this study, but also the study previous to that. So consistency in trading is really what makes a successful trader. I
Yeah.
think any good trader, right, who's been through the ups and downs of the market will tell you is where position management and consistency is key to a successful strategy.
Yeah. Yep. I thank you for saying that because it's so important. Now, again, the same idea here. Everything was documented as far as a testing framework. Dr. Huddleston did 40 markets. So altogether, you're talking about 100 markets, 100 random markets that they picked on their own. You can see that, selection criteria, high liquidity instruments with reliable historical data available. Well, think about it. Do you want to trade something that doesn't have high liquidity? Probably not. Should you trust your retirement or your hard earned income with something that doesn't have historical data availability that the AI can forecast? I mean, how many times have you heard us say here at Vantage Point? And if you haven't, let this be the first. If it doesn't have good liquidity and can't be forecasted with artificial intelligence, should you trust your hard earned capital in that asset, because there's so many people that want pre-IPO, IPO, and that's great for some random, you know, potential, maybe possibly big home run. But if that's your trading plan, you're struggling right now, and that's one of the things is that is consistency over time creates much more gains than just looking for that one home run. Don't get me wrong, I love a home run, Dickie. I love a grand slam. Heck, I'll show you Bloom Energy. That was an absolute grand slam that the artificial intelligence and Vantage Point picked up, but
Absolutely. I mean,
but it
look at
has
some of the
liquidity.
runs we've had on MU. I mean,
Yep.
Palantir. The list goes on, right? And that's the beautiful thing about Vantage Point is you can identify some of these grand slams. It's not keeping you out of that, right? But it's also keeping you consistent throughout your trading as well. So
Yep.
it's just powerful all around.
Yep, yep, and look, some of these stocks, you know these stocks, right? Apple, BP, Cisco, Dell, General Dynamics. I mean, this Nokia. We can look at a move. It's look at it's being 76.6% accurate on a stock that was, I don't know, what, $10 a share or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. 80% on Verizon. That's pretty incredible accuracy. When you look at sectors, United States copper, 77%. I'm not going to read all of them. It's available in the study, and if you want the study, just put me into the chat and we'll get you access to that as well. So we know you're interested in it. For you Forex traders, being right on the cable 80% of the time, right? I mean, the sterling, when you stop and you think about how many pips being right 80 out of 100 days could produce for you as a Forex trader, it's just astounding. And
It's
you're after
it's
those
mind
pips,
blowing.
right?
Absolutely.
Going through the rest of this, obviously I told you I get excited. You can tell that I, when I see something that says, hey, you know what? That tool that you guys use, a tool that you've been using, I've been using Vantage Point for 15 years now, is accurate. Number one, has high confidence, has incredible ability to forecast trends over traditional technical indicators. It gets me excited. It gets me very, very excited. I'm scrolling through this. I'm not reading every single section on purpose because there's a lot here, and I'm sure you guys want to get to the charts. I know Nikki does. I know I do. That's where we
I'm
we
like,
love
yeah, let's
we love spending our time.
before we get there, as you kind of just scroll down a little bit to give the viewers kind of just a sense of what is actually included in that study, you guys can have a chance to go read those after. But also take into account the fact that these are done by PhDs who know what they're looking for when it comes to standard deviations and accuracies, as well versed as Daniel and I are both in the software. We wouldn't have the time to go through and check each of these indicators, each of these assets over the course of 3 years the way that they did. I mean, they did an intense deep dive on these individual markets to come up with this incredible accuracy. They really pulled it apart and kind of, you know, made it go through the ringer, if you
Yeah,
will.
yeah,
So that's something that none of us would really be able to do unless that was really our profession, right? So we can take the accuracy that they've come up with and really be able to trust the software because we have had extensive research done on it, again, from third parties. So this isn't someone from Vantage Point. This is someone outside of Vantage Point that's saying, hey, this stuff works and it's incredibly accurate. So just amazing stuff.
yeah. I mean, look at Dr. Huddleston's competencies, if you will: predictive modeling, statistical analysis, algorithm design for machine learning and traditional applications, data visualization, big data analytics. His research capabilities encompass market research, systematic literature reviews, feasibility studies, and meta research methodologies. That's a
That
mouthful.
was a mouthful.
But a PhD in economics, doctoral dissertation in essays in financial asset pricing. I mean, this is somebody with financial market knowledge and the ability from a scientific standpoint to do a study, third party study, and it is notarized for accuracy, right? Everything in this study just really gives me confidence to say what we say Vantage Point can do on these YouTube lives, in our Vantage Point University training, in our in-person events. What we say it's capable of has now again and again, it's the software, for those of you that don't know, has been available since 1991, right? 34 years, going on 35 years of predicting the markets with incredible accuracy, up to 87.4%. And there's been studies done and tests and third party reviews and analysis over the years, over the decades. And now, 2025, this was October 2025. You can see the stamp on here we go, on the notary, October 7th. Oh, excuse me, that's theirs. Here we go. 21st day of October 2025. That's a brand new study, even now in this current time, with
Press release.
all these companies saying they can do artificial intelligence analysis and, you know, put your money in this account and this AI robot will make money for you. I haven't seen any of those really work with any validity. And this is saying now, 34 years later, Vantage Point just gets better and more consistent. And for those of you that are in the chat saying, I want consistency, that's me. You're in the right place. You're in the right place. So I'm glad you're here. We're going to dive into some charts really quickly. One of the things that Nikki and I could do, I promise you, we can talk all day about how great the Vantage Point software is, but we could also show you how great it is with some actual forecasts. So we're going to do that really quickly. We're going to walk through some forecasts. As a matter of fact, Nikki is going to give you a quick rundown of how to read a chart. I'm going to pull up, Nikki, I'm going to pull up Google because we talked about that one recently. Let me just pop over to my Vantage Point here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as you get Google pulled up, keep in mind that VantagePoint is really good at taking complex data, complex information, and making it very simple. That's what we've done with the studies. That's what we've done on the charts. So we'll jump on over to those now. So with Google, we can see that we do have a green trend. And I'm going to keep this very simple for everybody. All right. Green typically is going to mean a bullish trend or up, and red is going to be down. All right. So for those of you who want to keep it simple, a good color coding system never goes wrong, right? So let's start at the beginning of the trend, Daniel. I think we should start at the very beginning of our screen on the left-hand side, and we'll just work our way all the way through because we've got a really nice run right there where we've got that bullish crossover to the upside where we see the blue line crossing above the black line and our trend turns green, right? I said green is bullish, right? Or up. You can think of it as green for go if you really want to, right?
Nikki, I'm going to be
So
your Vanna for a second. I'm just going to put a line on that date so that I move my
you
cursor
could
around,
please.
everybody can see that that's the day the blue line was below and then went above right there on that day. Some people that are a little more conservative might say, maybe, maybe not. It certainly is. If you look in the top, you can see 173.88 to 173.74. The blue line has a higher value than the black line. And
Yes.
you're exactly right. That's the
Great.
bullish beginning of the trend.
Great point. And here's what's great about that is whether or not you're a visual person or you like to crunch the numbers, you've got them right there on the screen for you. So the data's there no matter how you slice it. But then we're going to jump on down to the neural index. So that neural index is the green and red banner that runs across the bottom of the screen. That's our price action. And so typical price rising over the next 2 days. It's a 2-day indication. So we're going to look down at that neural index. We can see it's green. So that's confirming that bullish expectation. So 2 points of confirmation there. Now, Daniel, in Vantage Point, we like confirmation and we like confidence, right?
Yeah. I'm going to move you out of the way. Hold on. Here we go. Yep, that's exactly right. That
Perfect.
confirmation and confidence, that agreement on June 30th, you hit the nail on the head. That's what we're looking for.
Absolutely. And then there's more, right? So we're going to jump down to what we call the predictive differences or measures of strength, i.e. momentum for that trend. We want, good strength and momentum backing the trend. So we've got those three predictive differences moving up as well. So that's really the start of the trend. It's really as easy as that. There is a fourth point of confirmation we'll get to, which is the predictive trading range. And we'll jump to that when we get to current day, because that's going to move out every single day for you, giving you an expected price range for that day, or that next day, I should say. So let's go ahead and progress through that trend. As long as that blue line's over the black line, I mean, that's our position management and consistency right there. Just running all the way through, navigating us through some of the smaller dips in the market. Don't get scared, right? Just maintain your heading as long as that blue line is above the black line. Now, I'm sorry, when we see that blue line crossing below the black line, thank you, my honorary Vanna over there. Um, so thanks, Daniel. We have a crossover with the blue line is crossing below the black line. And of course, you can look at the data, the numbers up at the top on that line as well, but we can see clearly that blue line is below the black line, trend turns red, verify with the neural index, and then the predictive differences are moving down as well. So you've just quick made a trade assessment and are able to make an informed trade decision within a couple of seconds, right?
Yeah, that's the great thing about it is quick decisions with confidence. If we just went crossover to crossover and said, if you did what Nikki just explained, that's, we showed this the other day, 38% in 65 trading days. When you stop and
Wow.
think about that from a percentage, let me slide this down here. I think our video might have covered it up. There we go. When you think about that kind of performance, what is that? 0.5% a day, right? Now that's not always going to happen, but if you take 0.5% a day and you annualize that, 200 and I don't know, I'll use 220 trading days in a year, that's 110% gain. Now, obviously, it's not going to be right like that. And these gains are hypothetical. You can see that I'm not in a trading account right now, but you can say, if I took this example and I use the AI to create some consistency, that would be great to have 100% gain in a year. And I'm not saying you're going to do that. Those results may be atypical, but I am saying is that the artificial intelligence, as Nikki said, identified this trend very, very quickly so that you could take advantage of those quick decisions. And then, like she said, just use a simple color code. The next time it turns green again, here we go. I'm going to put a line on it for you, Nikki. This is what, 10:15. We got another cross back above that black
10:15.
line.
Yep, we've got another cross to the upside. We've got a confirmation on the neural index, right? We've got confirmation on the predictive differences strength moving on in. So we've got another potential bullish setup happening here. Again, quick, easy decision making right there. And I'll note as well that this is just one trend, right? I mean, we forecast for thousands of different markets. And as we'll take a look, I'm sure, in the scan here a little later. But let's go ahead and continue. So just moving forward, I mean, up to current day, Daniel, we can see that we're still in that bullish trend, even navigating through that bit of a pullback, telling traders, hey, you don't necessarily have to panic. Vantage Point is going to keep those emotions at bay and help you ride through some of those dips and bumps in the road that we know do occur during trading. So how do you keep emotions at bay? Have a powerful tool that helps you navigate through those dips.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Absolutely, it does. And Nikki, we had some questions. Obviously, there's some major interest, but one of the questions was, will Vantage Point be available not on a desktop anytime soon? I don't know what you mean by that. I assume you're wondering if Vantage Point is web-based. Vantage Point, the power of the artificial intelligence is something that it needs processing power for. If I told you how long it took to train the artificial intelligence the first time we ever trained a market, because where this started in 1991 was one market, and it took months to get the AI to process that big data. Now we can do it much, much better and much faster, but it does require PC. It's a Windows-based program, and you can see if you had to go out and get a $300 PC just to take advantage of moves like this in the markets, I think it'd probably be very, very much worth it, if you ask me, because these
Would
two
be
trends
absolutely worth
alone.
the investment, right?
Yeah, that's what 50. Let me math it up real quick. 51% gain in two trends alone. And let me
Mhm.
zoom in a bit, Nikki, because one of the things you were talking about was this predicted candle over
Yes.
here, right?
Absolutely. So thank you for zooming in so everybody can see that really clearly. So that gray trade candle that's in the corner of the chart, over to the very far right-hand side. I'm sure Daniel's going to put his cursor right over there for us. Yes. So that is actually going to give you the predicted high and predicted low for the next trade day. So meaning the night before, you know what the predicted high and predicted low could potentially be. If you want to talk about entry pricing, I mean, to know what the predicted low would be incredibly valuable to timing and placing your entry into a trade, right? And the other fact is, okay, well, if it drops below that, how do you set stops? Well, use data to do that. Don't just do it arbitrarily, right? Know and assess what is going to make the most sense for your trade strategy, but use the predictive data to help guide that as well. So we've got the predictive trade candle here that'll show you the predicted range for the day. So shorter term traders, great. You've got a predictive range that can help you assess where that stock is likely to go throughout the day. If we start at the bottom, where are we likely to rise? If we start at the top, where are we likely to fall? And so having that data right there in front of you the night before, so you can plan proactively versus reactively trading to the markets, is what will help with that consistency as well.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is like, yeah, and I say this all the time, and I say minimize your downside risk while trying to optimize or maximize your upside potential. Vantage Point's going to give you the ability to do both much better than all of the tools out there that you're finding. And look, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of tools out there that could work. I've used them. I've got over 25 years experience in the markets. I've seen them. I've used them. I've been utilizing Vantage Point now for 15 of those years. So more than half of my trading life using AI. And I can tell you, far and away, the information that I get from Vantage Point to make trade decisions is much, much more powerful than anything I've ever used. Not just because of the patents, not just because of the AI, but because of the potential gains that you could get from this. So Nikki's right. This predicted high and predicted low is valuable. Nikki, I'm a little curious because, Vantage Point predicted this at 6:30 p.m. last night. I'm just going to go, I'm
Last
going to go
night.
to
So these
Google and I'm going
forecast
to do
guys came in
Google
last night.
last night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to do Google stock price. I just want to see, what it says. All right. So we've got a high of 289.44 and a low of 279.01. So again, a high of 289 and a low of 279. Vantage Point said we could expect a high of 289 and a low of 283. So it almost nailed it to the T. The great news about this is if it went down to 279 and you're using that from a stop loss standpoint, guess what? Welcome to locking in gains, because that's one of the things with trading that traders need to be really, really good at. If I was able to get an entry here and it dropped below that predicted low, and wherever point you set a stop loss below that predicted low, I'm just going to go about the halfway point here.
Yep.
There you go. End of the day, you walk away with it over an 8% potential gain with a nice stop loss to keep you out of losing more money, and you can go find something else to trade. And this is what Nikki was talking about, is use something to set your stop losses. We could see we're expecting a low as 283, getting stopped out today, let's say at 280. Awesome move. Why? Because you locked in gains. And let me let you in on a little secret. I guess it's not a secret, but a nice little saying that anytime you can take a profit. When you think about it, you're not going to lose money anytime you take a profit. I know it's kind of funny, but if you really stop and think about that, it makes all the sense in the world. And Nikki, I got to tell you, somebody said, who was it? Where did it go? Can we do a scan? Can you show some scans to identify new ones? I think that was Leah, exclamation point,
I'm glad
exclamation
you
point.
saw that. Yes. Very good.
I'm not going to do a scan on this one, Leah, and for one reason. We did a scan yesterday. And Nikki and I don't remember what time it was. It feels like it feels like it was a week ago, but I think yesterday at 2-ish. Anyway, you can go subscribe to our Vantage Point AI YouTube channel. Find the video from yesterday. I think it was 10 or 12 minutes. We did a brand new scan. What came out of that scan, Leah, was Cleveland Cliffs, this stock right here.
Yes.
Obviously, we've had another day. Yesterday, all we would have seen, if I scroll this chart over, all we would have seen, and if you watch that video, all you saw yesterday was that little crossover right there. And we pulled it out of a scan live with everybody. Yesterday, there was some gains on it already. We knew at that point in the day, we had a nice candle with some gains. But Vantage Point, the blue line was above, the neural index was green. So if we run through everything Nikki just taught us, everything was indicating there's still some bullishness expected in that trend. If you're day trading it, great. Maybe you took your gains by the end of the day. You were up. Awesome. If you're swing trading
profits, right? You're not going to lose taking profits.
That's right.
You are doing that, right?
Now, if we went to Cleveland Cliffs today, I'm going to do the same thing we just did on Google, because we scanned it live, right? We might as well cross-check it live.
Yeah, let's
Cleveland Cliffs stock price. It's up 2% today at $11.19. So if you watched this live yesterday and you watched us do a scan yesterday, again, I just want to reiterate, this was yesterday live with everybody in the room. Oh, I just forgot the number. Let me go back to it. 11.19. This stock is now at 11.19. I'm
Mhm.
going to drop a line right here at 11:19, and then we're going to do a little profit calc. Just because those accuracy studies say it's accurate and consistent, people always say, yeah, we'll do a live scan. Don't show me the old stuff. Show me the new stuff. We get so many things. And Nikki, I got to move you a little bit here. Let me move you out of the
No,
way because
you're
I'm gonna
absolutely
slide you
fine.
back down over here. There we
And I
go.
do believe I'm just going to point this out as you do that. I mean, we were within 10 cents of the predicted low here as well. So,
I love it. I love it. So
I mean,
from
I'm
the
not sure how
open
much closer you get,
yesterday,
right?
to where this stock is right now in 2 days, it says 1 day, so you would have could have gotten it at the open yesterday, and as of 4 o'clock today, 4% gain in, we'll call it 2 days. That's 2% a day. So we had 0.5% a day on Google, 2% a day on this brand new one we scanned live with everybody. Even if you just take today's gain, that's 2% today, 2% yesterday. I don't, I I know I'm a little partial and I'm a little biased to Vantage Point, but I'm not sure that there's another organization out there that's using artificial intelligence that has that capability that is willing to do a live scan on air and then go cross check that scan live on air and has accuracy studies and dual patents. If you
I
find somebody
am
like that, let me know.
I am more than a little partial and definitely biased when it comes to Vantage Point because I really the software speaks for itself. The data, the predictions, they speak for themselves. I mean, look at these trends. And I will point out that when we did that scan yesterday, we looked at over 1,700 different assets. All right. So we scanned through a very large pool of markets to identify some of the top expected trends, went through, did our quick analysis on the 4 points of confirmation, and came up with some really great opportunities that are really just showcasing the accuracy of the software today from 2 days ago, right? So, Daniel, this has been fantastic. I know that we got some other results from some of the scans and some other opportunities that were coming up. Do you want to walk us through another chart?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, this is a chart that a lot of people have been asking for. I don't know if you're in this session and you're familiar
Oh, yeah.
with Micron, but I can tell you one thing. We get requests constantly for different charts. We get requests for different tickers to be analyzed. I'm moving us around a little bit, Nikki, just so everybody can see the chart.
You're fine. Yeah, I
So
can see your chart just fine, by the way.
good, good. Okay, so Micron Technology, Vantage Point using the analysis that we had, Vantage Point right here on this day had the blue line crossing above the black line. And I got to tell you, if Nikki's interpretation or teaching for you made sense, then do me a favor, drop a like, hit a like for how smart Nikki is and how easy it is to learn from her. She is our head trainer here at Vantage Point. In Vantage Point University, we have a full group of instructors. We have a group of coaches. We have Nikki as our head trainer, and they have one responsibility. When you join the Vantage Point family, they want to teach you how to use and read the software the way we are able to do it here as people that spend all day at it. And Vantage Point University has immense pride in what they do. Nikki, from a training standpoint, and the rest of our coaches and instructors really want to make sure that when you have the software, and by the way, when I say join the Vantage Point family, I mean invest in the software because everybody in this session right now, if you don't have the software already, you can certainly get it. We'll drop a link that you can talk with somebody one on one right in the chat. The best thing for you to do is just chat in, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and click that link so you can talk to somebody one on one about the software because right here on Micron Technology on 9.4, the software said this trend's expected to move higher. The neural index was green, and if I was not in the way here, I'm going to move myself out of the way really quick just to make sure everybody can see what I mean. The predictive differences were pointed up, meaning momentum had shifted from bearishness to bullishness. Now, riding that trend, as long as that blue line stayed above the black line, Nikki, here's another great example of a stock that people are very, very familiar with. Look, 88% in 52
Just keep
trading
them
days.
coming.
The hits keep on coming. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. By the way, if you have a ticker that you would like to look at or a stock and it has good liquidity and good accuracy, good history, and it's in the software, we'd be glad to pull it up for you. I think we've got probably enough time for 2 or 3 of your tickers. I've got another chart or two to show you, but go to the chat really quickly and just drop in a stock. The stock you're interested in seeing the Vantage Point artificial intelligence analysis on, and we'd be happy to look at that for you. Until then,
Yes.
we're going to look at a couple more. We got, by the way, the pharmaceutical sector, biotechnology, has had some pretty good pops lately. I know you've been talking about it with a lot of people, right?
I have been talking about this, I feel like nonstop this week, especially with just the movement we've seen within this sector. And VantagePoint, just as an additional note, does look at ETFs as well. So you can really isolate individual sectors where we've got money movement flowing into those sectors as well, and then be able to identify the individual opportunities that are actually moving within those sectors. So you really have that dual market confirmation as well. So when we talk about confirmation, that equals confidence, which ultimately leads to consistency, right? A confident trader is a consistent trader.
Yep. Absolutely. This is an interesting one, by the way. This is Arrowhead Pharmaceuticals, and the reason I say that is because this is like bell to bell. This is from one earnings to another earnings. You can see these little flags right here are earnings flags, and Vantage Point was saying between the earnings dates there was incredible bullishness, just going from one candle to the next, the entire trend. Oh, geez, talk about a home run, 150% to the bullish side. I'm not going to walk through the interpretation of all the indicators because we've done it on 4 charts. And by now, you probably know how to do it because it's designed to be very simple. I see a lot of tickers coming through. Here's another new one, Jazz Pharmaceuticals. This one came up recently in a scan. We were talking about it here, and it created a lot of buzz. And I say that because what it did, it crossed over on 11/11, right? The neural index had been green for 2 days already, and momentum was increasing. You can see that right here on the chart. But why this one has been talked about quite a bit is because it was around 135 bucks a share at the original forecast. It's up 24% in 4 days. And if you go check out Jazz Pharmaceuticals right now, I mean, it closed yesterday at 170.09. I can pull it up. Nikki, do you have Jazz pulled up by chance?
I absolutely do. So, looking at Jazz for today, we closed at 180.52,
All right.
and the range, yep,
180.52. I'm just going to move
just
my
an
line to
awesome move.
180.52 and see what we could have. There you go. 32%, 4 days, 5 days. Well, folks, safe to say that the AI is pretty consistent. Now, these are charts that came out of scans that people have asked for. I see some tickers in the chat. CF. Hey, Mojo, nice to see you. I didn't even know you were in here. I see you. That's great. I see you all the time in these sessions here. CF Industries. That's what you're asking for. First ticker in. Let's do some analysis on this, Nikki. And first thing I gotta say,
Absolutely.
whoa. First of all, let's take a step back. Is this something that I would risk my hard-earned capital in? And I know we're not talking about my money here, but I can tell you just by looking at this chart and the erratic and variations in the share price, in the candle sizes, the candle range, the ATR is all over the place. My first instinct, by the way, if you're not doing this, this is not trading advice. This is just education. If your first instinct when you open a chart is to go, ooh,
If you have to take a deep breath when you hit the chart, take a deep breath and maybe walk away, right?
yeah, this is one of those.
What is your saying that you always, your go-to is the sometimes the best trade you take is the one that you didn't, right?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
know our viewers have heard me say that 1,000 times. And again, another Danielism that I kind of took from my mentor himself. But yeah, this is also the benefit of Vantage Point is keeping you out of bad or maybe marginal trades, so you can spend your time and effort in opportunities that are going to make more sense for your strategy and really stack the odds in your favor.
Yeah. And this is one of those stay away from, unless you're an options trader and you like to do delta neutral strategies and you want to write some iron condors
Mm-hmm.
and trade something outside of these ranges. It's been in a range. It's a tough one. It's about a $10 range. So there's a good opportunity to collect some premium, but Mojo, not feeling that one, my friend. Let's go to the SPY for let's see. Sierra Safi, let me pull up the SPY. I think there's a couple of people that have requested the SPY. See,
Yep,
Ron Rob
I
also
see a few
said
of them in
SPY,
there, so we'll
right?
definitely go over that one.
Yeah. So I know the question you're asking yourself is, what does Vantage Point say about the current market? Well, I can tell you, look, no matter how I slice this, no matter what I look at from a vantage point standpoint, a short term crossover, a 1 day prediction, a 2 day prediction, a 3 day prediction, a long term prediction, no matter how I slice this, Vantage Point said down, right? And I know, Ron, I know that's probably why you're asking, and I know, why Sierra's asking as well, is because the question I get all the time is that, did Vantage Point predict what's going on in the markets? Well, take a look at the chart. You can see that it's red, the neural index is red, and momentum is pointed down. So there is no question that that is the case. So
We actually
hopefully that
did some
answers your question.
analysis, some deeper analysis on the SPY in one of our live trainings that we hold in Vantage Point universities for all of our Vantage Point users. And that's one of the things with Vantage Point too, is that you do have additional training and resources available to you as well. I mean, the software is incredibly easy to use, but we also know that traders need a guide to better understanding and a guide to just help them be more confident. Because sometimes when traders come to us, their confidence is a little shaken, right? If you've been using traditional lagging indicators for a long time, it's hard to believe sometimes that these indicators are incredibly accurate, which is why we do the accuracy studies and the additional trainings to help build your confidence as a trader in the predictive indicators, in the predictive software as well. But we took a deep dive on the SPY, and in fact, everyone who was on that training session said bearishness, right? And we were expecting that ahead of time. I asked, who looked at the SPY before the market opened, and what was your expectation? And they all said bearish. Well, would you be surprised with the results in the market today then if you were using this forecast?
Yep.
Probably not.
I love it. I love it. We got somebody asking for MSI. Michael asking for MSI. Leah, I see you asked for Circle, not something that Vantage Point forecast for, and there's a reason for that. That's if we go back to about 20 minutes ago in this session where we said not every stock is worth your hard-earned income, right? Not every move is worth trading. And if Vantage Point, if artificial intelligence that is dual patented and forecast with accuracy up to 87.4% can't or doesn't forecast it, ask yourself whether or not that's something you should be trusting your hard-earned money in. But let's move to MSI. We got a bearish crossover on Motorola on 10/15. That's October 15th. There was bearishness expected all the way. The question that people are probably asking is, what direction was Motorola expected to go? Well, here's the great news. The blue line was below the black line, right? Even through earnings. Look at that. Talk about an accurate forecast, Nikki. This was the earnings date here. Look what happened after earnings. It fell off a cliff. Well, what was the AI saying? Oh, I don't know, 2-3 weeks before earnings.
Yeah, we were on a slow roll downhill before it fell off that cliff, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
we were already headed that direction.
The AI was saying that the whole way. So that if you like to short the market or buy puts, you can see that this is a very substantial move. 13%, 13.87% in 23 trading days. That's about what, 50% or more, around that 50, excuse me, 0.5% or more a day, right around that number. That's a 5 contract. That's a substantial move minus premium. Let's say you took a $20,000 profit on that move, buying some puts, 5 of them. In this hypothetical example, what's Vantage Point saying now? Same thing, more bearishness. Definitely not a trend reversal. If you haven't hit your target already on your gains, software is saying, well, just protect your downside. If you're shorting this opportunity. Now, let me ask, Michael, you're not long MSI, are you? Go to the chat really quickly and let me know if you're long MSI. I'm hoping you're going to say no. Although hopium is not a trade strategy, by the way. Like hoping something does
words
something.
Right out of my mouth. Absolutely. Uh, but you also mentioned something key as well. We're looking at downside profit potential as well. I noticed some people had typed in the chat a little earlier regarding options. And so whether you're looking at upside potential or downside potential, there's ways to make money in the market either way, but you've got to know what direction it's going, when to get there, when to get out. And here we have a clear example of a bearish trade that still could have been profitable if you are on the right side of that.
By the way, Michael said no way he's not long this. So.
Oh, good. We're so happy then.
Good. And maybe you're looking for an opportunity to buy into this. By the way, if this does move, this looks like this might be down around the 52-week low. So this is an interesting one. I know a lot of people like watch list type stocks. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Set the 52-week low yesterday. So momentum is trying to build and get it out of the low. That's still 374.53. Expensive stock options for me come into play, but we would need it to reverse before we say, yeah, this is the right time. But if it can reverse off of this low, and technology, that sector that's getting beat up right now, can revive itself, this may be a good watch list one. I don't personally build watch lists. Why? I'll tell you, using the artificial intelligence to tell me when something is expected to reverse is a whole lot more powerful than watching something go down and down and down and down until price action says that it's reversed. It's all lagging data past price. So rather than me watching something waiting for it to turn, I run a scan in the software and let it tell me when something is expected to turn tomorrow or the next day or the next day, like we did with Cleveland Cliffs, and we had that nice gain. So if you are somebody that likes to build watch lists, then by all means, please take advantage of building watch lists. But I can tell you, when you're using artificial intelligence that can predict the trends, let the software do the hard work. You get the output and you make your final decision. Nikki, I think we're out of time from looking at tickers. I think today was a really great session. I'm glad you invited me. I know we were talking about doing it yesterday, and we had this idea of maybe there's something we could do to show people how powerful the software was, and I think this was a great session. I'm glad I got to spend the time with you, with VantagePoint, with all the users here to go through, or maybe non-users. There's a lot of people in this session that don't have the VantagePoint software yet, and I know our team dropped a link where you can go to VantagePointForecast.com. All right, that's VantagePointForecast.com in case you have questions and you want to talk one-on-one. Maybe you're inquiring about getting the software for yourself, or you have the software and you're part of the VantagePoint family. You can reach out to your coach and your instructor with questions. But this session, I got to say, I enjoy a lot of YouTube live sessions, but this one was especially fun, not just because of the charts, not because of you, Nikki. Of course, that's part of it. But how often do you get an accuracy study that says what those accuracy studies said? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, we're so glad that you took the time to join us today. I know that a lot of our viewers were interested in hearing your perspective on the accuracy and the chart interpretation as well. We all know Daniel knows his stuff, and if you didn't know that, you do now. So thank you, Daniel, for joining us on our session today. And guys, we'll catch you on the next session, but looking forward to reviewing more charts and live analysis here on our YouTube live sessions with you guys.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.